This is the Tuesday Review. I'm Nathan, as always, joined by James in the studio. How you going, James?
Not bad. How are you?
Good. And joined by Alum over Zoom this week. Callum can't make it. Alum and Callum are sick, but Alum's able to join us over Zoom. So that's good.
I really wonder if Callum got the same thing as me. Is it a sore throat?
I think so. I don't know. Some sort
You
of
guys
vague
always
cold.
get the same thing. It just goes round and round. I'm the only one who's not affected.
I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not affected yet.
Yep.
I reckon it's the vitamin D supplements I've been taking for you. I haven't gotten cold.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Got to get that D.
That's it. Got to get that D. We're all out that big D energy over
Yeah.
here. So, anyway.
Is that a thing now? Sponsored by Big D?
That's it. Sponsor,
Yeah.
Vitamin D companies hit us up. We'll make some inappropriate endorsements. That's it. We got that big D energy in the studio, that vitamin D.
Instead of it fits our brand more than like what does Joe Rogan do? The supplements.
Oh, Joe Rogan does all kinds of.
But
crazy
you know,
shit,
like
though.
the Alex Jones, the workout supplements. Whereas
the water turns the frogs gay. Stuff,
vitamins fits our brand more. It's like, take this, you weak nerd.
That's it. We need those supplements, all right?
Yeah, you pasty.
That's it.
We're gonna have the adverts like, "Oh, my sinuses."
Yeah.
Like, take the D.
All right. So I guess it's a bit of an easy breezy week this week. We're just going to talk about a couple of things. We went to... What did we talk about first? I saw the TV Glow.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when Callum's not here because what he'll end up doing is not listening to this episode and repeating everything next week.
That's true.
So, like, I kind of don't want to do Unfrosted and I don't want to do I Saw the TV Glow and I don't want to do Emotion is Dead, which is all the movies that I watch.
Well,
I feel like you can do Unfrosted. Just because we've already had our say on that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm sure we can fight you on your misopinions.
No. Nathan will tell you.
He liked it.
I really liked it. I thought it was very funny, because you guys talked about it when it came out in May, and I always planned to watch it, but I was like, I got other stuff going on.
He's got cinema to watch.
Yeah. And so, like, I was like, I'll put... And then we had the opportunity to watch it, Callum and Nathan, all together the other night. And it was a good opportunity because otherwise I probably would have kept putting it off. And those guys were like, looking over at me thinking, oh no, what's he going to think? But I thought it was very funny. I laughed pretty much the whole way through. Like, it's consistently funny.
It is, yeah.
There are some really good jokes. Some of the humor didn't land.
No, but not all the humor has to land.
Yeah. What I was worried about back when you guys talked about it is what I'm always worried about is because they don't make movies like they used to anymore, especially straight to streaming movies. And so I was like, yeah, it might be funny or whatever, but the filmmaking is always kind of
It's flat, yeah.
And this is not an exceptionally well-done film, but it's competently made. Like, it looked okay, and, it was edited well enough. Like, it's nothing special.
No, but it doesn't need to be.
But, yeah, considering a lot of straight-to-streaming movies and a lot of Netflix movies are, like, incomprehensibly poorly made, even if they're big budget, and you're like, why is it edited that way? And why is it shot that way? And it's like, ugh. Unfrosted was... No, fine. Like,
you didn't notice it. Like, it's that thing about it's like the direction and the editing. You didn't notice anything terrible, so it's fine.
Yeah, it wasn't egregious or anything. But, I think the main thing that Jerry Seinfeld was going for, obviously, was the humor and the jokes.
It's got like that Anchorman kind of zany level of...
Yeah, and, I like that type of absurd humor. It's like heightened reality. It's not really...
Yeah.
It's not...
It's a world in which the most important things in the universe is breakfast and like Kellogg's and Post.
Yeah, and their battle is the most important thing. And the mascot, like cereal mascots, are like real people in that universe. And
there's like a union of them, and they're like, you mess with us.
And then there's you guys talked about the milkmen.
Oh yeah, the milkmen.
The big milk industry is like holding over the cereal because you can't have cereal without milk, and then they're trying to create the Pop-Tart,
and the sugar guys are like the cartel, kind of like cocaine cartel.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah,
and the serial funeral. Oh,
That part was I remember you guys
Yeah.
talking about it, and then it came up again when we were watching it, and that probably is the funniest part, especially when she starts cutting the banana into the grave. I slapped my knee. That's how hard I was laughing. And then there's just a random lady, and she just walks away. It's so funny. It reminded me of the good old. It felt like a '90s movie, a bit zany and a bit and more colorful. But it reminded me also of like the older kind of '70s and '80s, like Abrams Zucker kind of airplane flying high. You know,
there's
that
elements
kind
of
of
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the comedy. It's not really about anything else.
They're cutting the banana.
Yeah, so good.
Oh man, and the snap, crackle, pop.
Yeah,
Because they're like holding.
they're folding the
Oh my god,
so funny. Yeah, but I thought it was good. I mean,
and it's interesting because it got panned on release.
It's. I think we talked about it back then, or you guys did. It's like Jerry Seinfeld just can't keep his stupid mouth shut.
No,
and he's one of those. Oh, everyone's woke now. You can't say anything. Comedy, nah. And I think as a comedian, he takes comedy too seriously, and which is silly because it's this is a silly movie, and it's comedy is about making people laugh and sometimes being silly. And from what I've heard, as you know, him write or co-writing the script and directing the movie, like he's very much about like just say the joke as the script. Like he's not an improv. He doesn't care about improv. He doesn't like it. He's very like just do the thing.
I think it worked for this movie though.
I think it worked fine. And like I said, most of the jokes were funny enough that it held like, and the ones that didn't really work wasn't that bad.
No.
So, you know, could the movie be better? Sure. Is it the best comedy in the last 10, 20 years? No. But I think it's definitely a lot better than people are.
It doesn't deserve the beat up that it's gotten. Like a 42% on Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes. I'm like, it's better than a 42%.
Yeah, I think also, like, we talked about this once where just because the filmmaker outside of the project might be, you know, problematic or whatever, the product itself is what you're reviewing. I guess at the end of the day, it's subjective if you want to bring that into it. And I'm sure I've done it with things where I'm like, I don't like this movie because the person isn't bad. But usually I try to separate it. But it's a hard... Me and my friend Ed were talking about this recently with, unfortunately, Neil Gaiman, who's an author we all really like, and who's a phenomenal writer. You know, some allegations came out against him, and I was talking to my friend about, you know, death of the author and separating art from the artist, and how it's not an easy thing, and you have to you yourself have to deal with it.
It also comes down to the question about once the authors release the art, how much of it belongs to him anymore.
Yeah, and also, you know, I think I've mentioned before, like the whole J.K. Rowling thing is like, I don't want to be supporting her, so I'm not going to be paying money for any sort of Harry Potter stuff.
But I love Harry Potter for me, and that's kind of thing where I'm just like, look, it'll outlive her.
Exactly, but it's like, then again, like I was just saying, it's like it's up to you to say like how. There's no right answer, I don't think.
No, it's
like,
not. It depends on the person and how, I guess, emotionally involved or attached they are to that property. Yeah. I'm like, if it's something I don't really care about, I can go without it if I know the creators about the person. But if it's something like, say, a Harry Potter or an American Gods, something that I love really, like I really like those properties, I'm like, look, there is an argument you can make both ways. As you said, there's no right answer. Yeah. But really great art transcends the author.
100%, yeah, but
except for when you've got the audiobook narrated by the author.
Well, that's the thing. So I'll tell. I mean, yeah, we've gone. So
then maybe by the paper book.
We've gone off on a tangent, but I want to talk about this. I never read American Gods. You guys read it before I did. Yeah, and you was like, oh, it's the best. And I was meant to read it for years and years. I was like, got to get around to it. The TV show came out. I didn't watch that. I was like, I'm going to read the book. You know, just. And then finally, I downloaded the audio book for American Gods and I listened to it. And I had about 5-10 minutes left when the allegations against the author, Neil Gaiman, came out. And it kind of soured and I was basically done with the book. It was just like the epilogue. Yeah. And it just kind of soured that last 5 or so minutes of listening to the book. And I had already bought the sort of semi-sequel, I forget what it's called, Midnight in the Glen or something.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of like, I don't really want to listen to it, but I want to know what happens in the next...
We don't condone this behavior. Illegally download the written version of the book. So you don't hear his voice.
So I don't have to hear Cameron's voice, yeah.
And then you just have to read it on your phone, I guess.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe I can do something with AI, so it's like Mr. T reading.
Or just, buy the audiobook, feed it into AI and be like, change the voice.
Yeah. Someone wholesome. Mr. Rogers reads you.
That's it.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like, it was just a shame because that book was really good and I did really like it. And so it's just unfortunate that this happened at this time. But yeah, it's just, there's no right or wrong answer. It's a complicated thing. You just have to navigate it as you can, especially for people like us who not make a living, but we invest a lot of our time and money into media that is made by sometimes people who come out as not being so great.
I think fame and popularity and money have a lot to do with it. They'll poison people's ego and they make them think they're better or bigger than they're not.
Yeah.
We're just lucky Stephen King came out of the other side of his 80s cocaine snow blizzard.
Yeah.
He came out on the right side of that, thankfully.
But even Stephen King's human, sometimes he'll say something really stupid and he'll be like, what are you talking about, old man? But usually he's fighting for the right.
Like, get back in the dungeon and write some books.
Right. He's always writing books. You can't tell. He's not He's not George R. R. Martin where if it's like, shut up and write. It's like, Stephen King will be talking shit and writing at the same time. He'll be talking shit on Twitter
he's got
writing.
Two keyboards, two separate computers.
You know how people complain, kids these days, they can't hold their attention. They're on their phone while watching a movie and on the computer. And it's like, Stephen King is an old man, but he's doing the same thing. But he's actually writing a book and on Twitter on his phone.
Yeah. All right, moving on. I'll have a double feature that we don't need to talk about with everyone here. So I rewatched Twister.
Nice.
A classic 90s movie.
Love it.
And I watched the new one too. I watched
Twisters with a $.
I will say, immaculate naming convention for the sequel. I approve.
Yeah.
Like,
makes sense.
It makes sense. You don't need to go Twister 2 and you could just do Twisters.
Yeah.
I approve, just in general. I love Twister. I hadn't seen it in a few years, and I was due for a rewatch.
I think I've talked about before. 90s disaster movies are like my favorite.
100%.
Like Dante's Peak, Twister,
and the practical effects in Twister are real nice.
Deep Impact.
Yeah,
love it.
I think even the actual tornadoes, the visual effects of the tornadoes on the screen, they still hold up really well.
Even the CGI cow, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. No, and some of it looks better than CG today.
Oh, 100%.
And
because most of it's practical, and then they just use digital effects for what they really had to. Whereas now everything's digital.
And look, I prefer the practical effects in Twister to the practical effects in Twisters.
To the practical effects in Twisters.
To the visual CG effects in Twisters.
Although even practical effects in new movies, because they don't shoot it as well, sometimes it doesn't even doesn't look good.
Yeah. So that was fun. Twisters I liked. I have a problem with the writing though. So in the first movie, spoilers for Twister, the first one in the 90s, all right? So
he doesn't get divorced.
Yeah.
At the end, I think.
So so the Twister, all right, Twister is Callum's here, but he's lurking. He's lurking, not joining in.
Callum was waiting for you to introduce him, but you just moved along.
He said something.
I'm just waiting for an opportunity to join the conversation.
We're joined by Callum.
We're joined by Callum. How you doing, Callum? He decided to come.
I'm okay. I'm sorry. I had to get dinner and all that kind of stuff. I'm okay. How are
you know
guys?
what time the show starts.
He's like, what time? What time's the show going to be?
Yeah,
but
to be fair to me, I was told we would skip in the week.
Oh, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, I heard you in the background saying, "Why don't we skip the week?" And I said to Nathan, "Yeah, we can just."
No,
skip
that
it.
was
Nathan goes, okay.
That was after you said, "Well, I've got to get dinner."
Yeah. Anyway,
moving on. Anyway,
how you doing, Callum?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So, Anyway, back to Twister.
Yeah.
Twister 1, all right? There's a race. It's a competition. Who can get the data first? You know, there's some stolen technology and kind of like allegedly stolen technology from Carrie Elwes.
There's a love triangle.
And there's the love triangle aspect. That's all fine. Very minor spoiler alert for Twisters. They set up some
Twister's the new one.
Twister's the new one.
Yep.
There's a competition angle between two rival groups of tornado hunters, right? Storm chasers. Why are they competing? They have two completely separate goals. One of them is like a YouTube show, you know, led by Glenn Powell. Mm-hmm. And they're just there for the fame and the YouTube video. And like, they have no reason to be competing against like the weather company, right? Who's there to learn more about the Twisters and how they form and all that kind of stuff. So you've got the YouTube game and the science game.
Yeah.
And they're directly trying to impede one another. And I'm like, but why? You think the Twister's going to be like, oh, I've had one visitor, I have to go and dissipate?
Yeah.
So that was a strange writing kind of decision that I didn't like. I just don't see why they would need to compete. Like, obviously, for attention angle.
Yeah.
But I just don't...
But it's not like two news crews or two YouTube filming, like trying to film the same thing, trying to get the best exclusive footage. No. It's one of the scientists trying to study and the other one are filming it. So they should just work together the whole time.
You would have thought so. It'd make for better content. Anyway, so like one of the sides is just a straight up YouTube. Like the dude has a sicked out truck where he just like, he plants it into the ground and then they go through the Twister, right? That's cool. The other side of it is like the science side, and they have like these 3D scanners they'll put on the side of on all around, try and get a full 3D scan of the tornado.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. They're both cool story angles, but I'm like, but why are they fighting?
Yeah, they needed conflict for the script.
Yeah, but there's no actual reason in the plot, and the whole way they're like beefing. I'm just like, why? You know, actually, like you know each other's goals, and they do not.
Yeah.
They're not aligned at all.
Overlap. Yeah.
They don't overlap, so I just don't see why they'd be in conflict. So the story was a bit weak, but it was a fun sequel.
Okay, yeah, I've heard it's not bad. Like I said, Twist, like that genre in the 90s, my favorite, and like Twister, I love it. So Twisters automatically has to do a lot of work to get me on board. So I am going to watch it eventually. But
I did really enjoy it. It was fun, and it made me feel good. It was fun, but again, like the story conceits are a bit iffy.
Glenn Powell's so hot right now.
He is so hot.
He's in everything.
He is so hot right now.
Well, he's so hot.
He's training him
full
up.
Stop. But he is so hot right now in terms of.
Did you see what he said about earning the audience dollar? He says you have to respect the audience, and like when they pay their money for the ticket, he wants you to know that he's doing his best for you.
That sounds like Tom Cruise levels of.
He's Tom Cruise's protege. Because they worked together on Top Gun, and they've been like this ever since.
Doesn't surprise
I'm telling
me.
you, he's grooming Powell to be like the next like big Hollywood it man.
I mean, yeah, it seems. He's well on his way.
Because Tom Cruise won't be around forever, and that's when.
I think he'll outlive us.
Relatively small. Probably. Yeah.
Me and Nathan were just complaining about vitamin D and our health problems, and it's like we're half the age of Tom Cruise. So yeah, I don't think he's human. I think he'll live for 1,000 years.
Probably.
Yeah.
God willing.
All right.
On the topic of Twister, like the key scene I think in the film was basically when they get hit by the F5 tornado in the barn. And then you kind of see like the inside of the tornado.
Yeah.
And they get all their data. And it's so cool. But like, there still isn't very much footage, if any, of the actual inside of the tornado.
No.
Like, it's like, how long has it been? Well, it's been 20 years since the movie, 18, but we've still got nothing.
I think, and that's the interesting thing about tornadoes and storm chasers is that large parts of how tornadoes form and function are still a mystery. And like, how do you protect? How do you predict? That is still quite a lot of mystery to do with tornadoes and twisters.
That's, because I mean, the originals, people make fun of it. Like, why do they have to see inside with the robot thing and whatever? And obviously the science isn't, it's a sci-fi movie. It's not supposed to be correct. But I think making a movie about early detecting would be interesting, because like saving people before like early warning signs, that would be an interesting thing. Like, well,
that's kind of what like Twisters is about. Like the whole thing, like we've got it down to 5 minutes. That's not enough. And like it's 2022 or 3 in the movie. It's like it's not enough.
Yeah.
We've got all this advanced tech, but they can't do anything about tornadoes, and they're so destructive that it's like preventative is just lock in a barn and pray. Like lock yourself down underground and just hope.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept for a movie. I just hope they don't make a Twister 3.
That's what I was going to say.
An alien mother Twister.
If this,
unless it has Twister of the small 3. The small 3.
Yeah.
You know, like Alien
cubed,
3.
Yeah.
And then they have Twister Resurrection.
Yeah. I wouldn't be, because they do these legacy sequels, and then that does
Twister
well,
versus Hurricane.
and then they do.
Yeah.
Twister versus Cyclone.
Yeah. The Twister Origin prequel series TV show. the first Twister.
Yeah.
It's like a caveman movie.
Yeah.
Twister
Dude,
Prometheus.
that's fun.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. The first disaster film.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of people go, oh.
Yeah, but I'd still watch it though.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like, no
dialogue because it's just grunts.
Yeah. And they think they've angered the sun god or whatever, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh no,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
an earthquake.
See, it writes itself.
Yeah, there's lava coming out of the
This is our screenplay, gentlemen.
liquid hot magma. Copyright Tuesday review.
Tuesday review.
2024.
Patent pending, trademark.
All right. We'll move on. While we're all here, we can talk about the new Adam Sandler special too.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so Adam Sandler has a new stand-up special on Netflix called Adam Sandler Love You. That's directed by, is it Josh Safdie?
Josh Safdie, yeah.
And it is very good.
Mm.
It's a stand-up special through, like, I guess, the very depressed, druggy lens of a Safdie kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's got a weird anxiety-ridden, uncut gemsy kind of feel to a regular stand-up.
I think
show,
I put
which
in
is-
my Letterboxd review something like it's not our Adam Sandler. It's an Adam Sandler that's deeply depressed and he's just trying to survive the day.
It's a slightly
It's a heightened.
yeah, because okay, so the actual
It's a
stand-up,
guy playing Adam Sandler.
it's the actual stand-up segment is Adam Sandler performing his material.
Yeah.
But in a lot of stand-up shows do this. They have like a little prologue and epilogue where it's like them walking into the studio and getting ready. But Safdie, one, it was shot on film,
Nice.
which is pretty cool. But the way I guess Safdie and Adam Sandler conceived it is like it's got this that weird tense energy that the Safdie brothers movies have, of where all this weird stuff keeps happening to him as he's going into the theater, and then he does the show, and things are going wrong throughout the show, and it's starting to feel like Safdie brothers project where it's all like The Curse, or where it's like getting awkward and things are going wrong. But the actual, then just taking away that and the actual Adam Sandler material, like his
It's
jokes
funny,
and his songs, really good, really funny. If you've listened to this show long enough, you've probably heard, Callum and Nathan love Adam Sandler movies to a fault.
I love the Sandman.
Where even the crappy, like, let's go to Hawaii and make a dog shit movie with my friends, they're like, oh my God, have you seen this? It's amazing. And I'm like, no. But Adam Sandler's, his last special in like 2018.
You look me in the eyes and you tell me Sandy Wexler is not a good film.
I have not seen it because you guys keep telling me, oh, it's actually really good. I'll take your word for it. I doubt it very much. But yeah, his last 2018 special was
also
really good. And this one is really good. Like this, and of course his real movies, quote unquote, Uncut Gems or whatever, where he's actually putting
His dramatic
Meyerowitz
performances.
stories, where he's putting in an actual performance in a real movie for a real filmmaker.
Ruby Halloween.
No, again, another one. You always
I
like,
didn't particularly like Spaceman that much, but that's all right.
but that
I
was
didn't
still
see
a
it.
real movie.
Yeah,
It just didn't
yeah,
end
yeah.
up being
Yeah.
that good. Yeah. But yeah, in this case, like this is something I was interested in, one because of Safdie, but because Adam Sandler's actual stand-up is
Usually
something
pretty
I'm-
good.
yeah. And what I like about it, we were talking about it off air the other night, is like he doesn't do traditional stand-up in like he gets up and goes, oh, hey, how you doing tonight? Oh, yeah, what's the deal with airline food? Oh, I was walking to the shops and I saw this guy. He doesn't do that storytelling kind of. He tells like absurd jokes and stories that are so wild and out there. And that's what I really love. We were just talking about Unfrosted, and it's like silly, hyper real.
humor,
Like
yeah.
it's not supposed to be
I
like
was-
a
I was
relatable.
He also sings, which is good.
And he does,
Yeah.
his songs, which he's known for.
The grumbling under his breath,
muttering,
or sort
yeah,
of
muttering.
muttering.
the
muttering under his
rawhide,
breath.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was like,
And he
great.
was doing the
But-
whipping noise and then the horse neighing noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, oh, so good.
My favorite was the Botox dick joke.
Yeah.
No, I just thought it was hilarious when like he's getting made fun of and they're like, he's got a heart on, and he's like, no, I had Botox. And then he ends it with the dog dick joke.
Yeah.
I thought that was excellent.
That was good. The balloon.
I also enjoyed the balloon joke.
Yeah, balloon bit was
Yeah.
funny.
That balloon joke, and then the grandma kissing were very Louis C.K.-esque.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the how it gets ruder, like super rude, and
Yeah.
you're just like, Jesus Christ, man. But I really loved it. It was a
Yeah.
great time.
It was
So good.
unconventional and unexpected. Like I think,
Mm.
because he's one of those actors where a lot of kids and families would like his films, right? And then he comes out with a stand-up like this. I can see why people would be like 1 star, very vulgar and unexpected. You know, I didn't want this.
That's
out
the
of his...
thing. And also, I was discussing with the guys the other night is like people expect normal stand up. When they see a stand up special on Netflix, they expect just
Yeah.
a guy to come out and say, oh, so I was at the store the other day. But these are like absurd, crazy jokes.
Especially from someone like Adam
Yeah.
Sandler, where people kind of
And
almost
people-
expect him to be a standard,
Yeah.
traditional.
People have
straight-laced
seen a
stand-up.
couple of his movies and are like, oh, I get he's
I can
just
take
a-
my kids to his stand.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, you can't.
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's also kind of funny because like there is a that's real element, and then he brings on Rob Schneider to do Elvis.
Oh, yeah.
And then like it's like there's just like some really interesting camera angles from the actual filming aspect of it when Rob Schneider is doing his performance, and I was like, it was awesome.
Rob Schneider might be a piece of shit, but he killed it.
He did. Yeah.
He did a good
He's
job.
a jerk.
Yeah.
He's a jerk.
Which
But
is
he's a
another reason
performer.
people are fighting back.
Yeah.
Like, kind of like with Unfrosted, Callum, I don't know if you heard, we were talking about Unfrosted earlier and how I actually liked it. But the way people were rallying against that movie because Seinfeld can't shut his
Yeah,
old
yeah.
man mouth. And it's the same with Love You, Adam Sandler's special, is people are like, this is garbage, Rob Schneider is an awful person. And I'm like, yes, I agree, but the special was still funny.
He still gave a good performance.
Yeah, and he kind of did a good job. So, yeah, it's like people.
No, credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I mean he's still a piece of shit, but
Yeah.
you know it was a good performance.
Is that the theme of this week?
Yeah, severing the art and the artist. We're talking about Neil Gaiman as well, Callum. I don't know if you heard that. Yeah,
man,
it's just
press F.
it's just it's a
Look,
shame.
I'm always gonna love his books. I'm still gonna buy his books.
Well, that's
you know what I mean.
That's what we were talking about. It's like it's you.
But I have that unfortunate knowledge
there's no.
that the man is not a nice guy.
Yeah, there's no easy answer. There's no one answer.
Like, look, I know that there are a lot of people who say he hasn't been charged with anything, and he says it's consensual. But the minute you try to have a consensual affair with your living nanny, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Not an affair, because him and his wife had an open thing going, but you know what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like there's the power dynamics at play, and
There's
it's like, how consensual is it when you live in the house and he's your boss?
exactly. He's the boss. There is that power dynamic. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, look, it's hard, right? Like, but I'm not one of those people who's gonna rip up all these books and all that
No,
shit. I'm like,
but as I was saying earlier in the show, like you have to make your own decision. And it's like me personally, I don't really want to financial support him going forward, but you know, I own a lot of his previous stuff.
and he's already filthy rich anyway.
Yeah, and it's also like I still want to enjoy Sandman comics. I don't want to stop reading.
That's
you know,
it.
that
Like
you know,
American
so,
Gods, it's like I'm gonna reread American Gods at some point.
Yeah.
I'll probably buy a new edition of it if it gets printed. And like, yeah, I feel dirty doing it, but I'm not really a proponent of Death of the Author. But there are some properties like American Gods, The Sandman, Lord of the Rings, things that are bigger than the author.
Well, that's
like
what we were talking about it earlier. Yeah. But it's still something you have to. Each person has to sort of grapple with. Yeah. Yeah. So we didn't pay for Zoom, so we only got 5 minutes left. Is there anything urgent we need to... Oh, Emotion is Dead. Should we... Or maybe we should leave that for a longer
Leave
segment.
that for a long week.
Leave it for next week.
Next week.
And then we could... Have you
Or
seen
hopefully-
Crimes of the Future for 1970, James?
Yes.
Okay, what a weird film. What an
Yeah.
interesting film.
Yeah, well, before we saw the 2022 version of Crimes of the Future, and we reviewed it a couple years ago, I watched because David Cronenberg had one. I think it was his second movie or something like that. And yeah, he made like this really weird sort of almost experimental sci-fi movie, basically on his college campus, I think, in Canada.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, and it was called Crimes of the Future. And then, decades later, he made the Viggo Mortensen movie in 2022, also called Crimes of the Future, which had a couple of similar elements, but they're not really connected or related. But I did watch the original one before I saw the new one. And it was such a very strange and interesting movie.
I actually enjoyed it.
Mm.
I will say, though, that I think that the screenplay was super dark. In some ways, darker than Crash.
Yeah.
And I was shocked by I still liked it. It's a vibes movie.
Yeah.
Like, through and through, a complete vibes movie. I think I'll just read out my Letterboxd review, actually, because there's some good points in there that I would forget otherwise. So bear with me. So yeah, I don't think can you get this film anywhere? Like,
it's on Blu-ray,
available on?
I think.
I know that it was released. Do you know how I mentioned in the chat it was from 1984?
Yeah.
The Plex metadata picks up the stereo and Crimes of the Future double feature.
Oh, the double feature. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing the original VHS was released in 1984. I'm not sure. It's uncomfortable to watch, but it's almost perverse intimacy, which is effective without being blatantly shocking. So, like, there are some scenes, like, with the feet, and just, like, when he, like, licks the ooze that comes from the people's bodies.
Yeah.
It's perversely intimate, but it's not explicit. You're not seeing nipples. Or, female nipples or anything like that.
You think of, like, later Cronenberg movies and the body horror and the, like, more extreme elements, and it's like, this is obviously the beginnings of that.
A bit tamer.
Yeah, but it's still disturbing, and especially what the story is about.
Think that it's all heightened by the lack of spoken dialogue. Like, it's all narrated by tripod. Because apparently it was filmed silent, and then they added in. They just like did it Italian
cheaper
style.
that way, yeah.
Which for this project works really well because it almost has like a storybook quality as the actions narrated by a tripod, and then they add in the experimental sound effects over the top, which is like, again, unnerving. It brings out that anxiety in the film, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, in some ways it's far more extreme than some of his other work, which is often labeled as like, this kind of far out there stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's all the subtext in this film is really nasty.
Yeah, it's it's how they say, oh, you can't make movies like that anymore, and it's like, shut up, and it's like this would get.
I said to Nathan after I watched it, I was like, if an indie filmmaker came out and brought this out, like today, career's over.
Yeah.
More feet on display than in a Tarantino film.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's all I got for it. Without spoiling it, obviously, because big spoilers. I don't want to go into.
We won't go into what it's about, and that's a whole nother discussion if you wanted to get into that. I think we're out of time.
Just about. Yeah, we've got about 4 minutes left before our stream cuts off.
Yeah, so hopefully next week some of the boys will be back to better health and we can do a proper episode.
Yes, there's lots to cover.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about. We watched some other myth movies that we didn't get to talk about, and lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. So,
all right, thanks for joining us over Zoom, Callum and Alan.
It was my pleasure. Apology I couldn't be in person.
Yeah, I'm sick too, Alan. Don't worry.
All right, thanks boys. We'll be back next week. You can catch the Tuesday review on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Newsmast, Blue Sky, Twitter, and YouTube at Tuesday Review AU on all platforms.
Mm-hmm. There's exclusive video content on YouTube that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, we'll be back with more.
Follow us on Letterboxd.
Oh, yes, of course, Letterboxd. I'm Nathan B_90.
I'm channeldrifter.
I'm
Alan 20.
Tuesday.
Oh, you bastard, Callum.
I'm
Alan 20.
Alan doesn't update his thing, so you don't have to follow.
I do update it. Somebody actually liked my review of Longlegs.
That was me, I think.
And Callum is Callum
Let me check.
Tuesday.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be back next week. Adios, cousins.